I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and you. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world.
And it is a wonderful world, and you can have a wonderful life if you will follow the formula from our guest, Thomas R. Williams, and you be willing to dare, dream, and do. He used to be with USC. He played football for the NFL. I guess not too many people play hockey for the NFL. And he used to be considered a game changer, but now he's a life changer, and let him change your life by staying tuned for the next hour. This is Your Wonderful Life. It's the show that endeavors to help you make your life better, and a major key to your better future is you. No matter what you're going through, you can make your life better. You don't have to be bitter. We're going to get to all that, but first I want to thank our engineering team, starting with Ms. Janae Blunt. Hello, Ms. Janae. Thank you for that usual wave. We have Aaron and Sergio doing whatever it is they do. Cowering Kirk is with us. Hello, Cowering Kirk.
Hello.
Hello, thank you. And our producer, Leah.
Hello.
And our co-host, Mr. Bill Hatch. Hello, Mr. Bill.
Hello, Pastor Andy.
Mr. Bill, I know you've been in some motivational seminars.
A couple.
And some are like Chinese food. You're hungry about an hour later. But the man who is our guest today is one who gives some advice that, well, we'll call it rib-sticking advice, okay? Does that make any sense to you?
Sure, why not?
You know, you could probably be giving your own motivational speeches, do you think? You could tour the world?
You know, I've always been told that wherever I'm working, people always just have to work harder around me. So I must be a pretty good motivator.
That must be it. We need to talk afterwards. As an international speaker and a published author, Thomas R. Williams is a professional reminder. We're going to ask him what that means. Nowadays, he's known for engaging presentations. He's known for his book. But there was a time when he was better known for playing for a little school up the road here called USC. Do you know what that is?
No, I've never heard of it.
The University of Southern California. He got a degree in sociology. He played 5 years. In those 5 years, they won 2 national championships and 4 Rose Bowl appearances.
He did 6 tackles in the '08 Rose Bowl, actually.
You did your homework. Good.
Well, you got to remember, I'm a big Tournament of Roses geek. So.
Well, you are. While you were building floats, I was sitting in the media tent on a pass. I had no reason to be there, but I got that. Well, he has gone on to be a long-term student at Life University. Thomas R. Williams, where's Life University?
Life University is actually every single day that we all wake up, and it's right in front of us. So that's what I mean when I say Life University. It's the opportunity that always presents themselves.
Good. I was hoping it wasn't one of those degree mills, so that's important. Give us a little background. Obviously, you didn't just roll out of bed and make it onto the team at USC. Did you play Pop Warner? What was going on in your life?
No, actually the funny part about that whole football story is, and I actually wrote about it in my book, is for my entire life I thought I was going to be a professional baseball player, hopefully playing here for the Angels.
Oh, yes, of course.
Right.
Now, would you have said the same thing if we were up the road at that other
The
LA
Dodgers?
team? Well, I don't know what team that. I don't know of this team of which you speak, but I've
he
heard
would
there's
have
something.
said, he would have said up there, I was planning on playing for the Angels.
No, it's it's okay. It's okay. Don't make me look bad already in the show, Bill. It's okay if you mention the Dodgers. We do. We're an ESPN station, so we do all the time. And there was a time I actually mentioned how delicious Dodger dogs were when I was sitting watching an Angel game. Boy, did I get in trouble for that. So,
And then he got food poisoning.
so you were going to be a baseball player.
Well, that was my plan, and that was my goal, and that was my dream for myself. And so I played baseball from the time I was about 8 years old until my freshman year in high school. And then my freshman year in high school, I got pestered and bothered by my high school coach, which is now the principal at Vacaville High School, Ed Santapadre. And he kept calling me. And I said, Coach, I understand you want me to play for your football team. That's great. And thank you for the invitation. But I'm going to have to politely decline because I don't know if you know this, but I'm going to be a Major League Baseball player. He said, that's great. I understand, but you can do both. So, truth be told, the only reason I ever wanted to play football was because I didn't want to be alone during that summertime going into my high school freshman year. And I remember all my friends saying, well, we can't hang out. We're not going to be able to do anything with you because we're going to be at practice. And so my mom asked me one night before my freshman year started, and she said, what are you going to do with your time off? And I said, Mom, I don't know. She said, well, you got two options. Either you're going to have to play football or you're going to have to get a job. And I said, you know what? I don't think it's time for me to get a job yet, so I'll go ahead and play football. So it actually turned out to be one of the greatest lessons and blessings of my life. And so I actually played baseball throughout high school, but my first love was football. And it's interesting because I never thought I would like it.
Fast forward, USC. Is Pete Carroll really the great guy we hear he is?
Well, everything that you see on TV with Coach Carroll is exactly who he is. He has a great book called Win Forever, and I actually had an opportunity to read that once I graduated college, and I wanted to see how much of that story reflected my experience at USC, and I can tell you it was spot on. I mean, everything that you see on the NFL Network, ESPN, is exactly who he is, and the way that he has those guys playing up there in Seattle is exactly how we were playing at USC, and it's no wonder that we were so successful and had so much fun doing it.
Now, oftentimes we talk about the power of association in, sort of positive thinking circles and so forth. But association with people, who we hang around can either be a very good thing or a very bad thing. Your game in life had to have been really raised up when you were hanging out with, the likes of Pete Carroll.
Yeah, Coach Carroll said something really interesting when I first got to USC, and we were in a team meeting room, and he said, if you want to be a good football player, you hang around good football players. If you want to be a bad football player, then continue to surround yourself with bad football players. And so I was able to correlate that to life. And so I said, well, in life, if you want to be a good person, you hang around other good people. If you want to be a successful person, then you hang around successful people. And so my friends who are still, some of them are still playing in the NFL, some of them are not, and some of them never went to the NFL. But I can tell you that all of my friends are extremely successful in doing everything that they want to do in life.
Now, if you can, recall the days when you just first came out, maybe the first time you're on the big stage. I mean, because USC is huge. If you don't know, that was a big school you were going to. So you're there, and there's I don't know how many screaming fans.
92,000
at the Coliseum. So there they are. Is it beyond butterflies? What's that like, being on the big stage?
To be honest with you, words really can't describe it. But I think what helped us out a lot is that every single day at practice, we used to have 100, 200, 300, 400, 500 people at practice. And so we were constantly being conditioned for the big stage of the 92,000, whether it was a home game or the 50,000 screaming fans that wanted us to leave with a loss. Coach Carroll constantly put us in the situation that we would get used to it and accustomed to it. And so the first time I ever stepped out onto a collegiate football field was when we went to the University of Auburn, and we actually went down there and beat them 23-0. But everything that Coach Carroll had done for us up to that point had prepared us for that. And so I was able to take that with me after I even retired from the NFL and saying, I've already been put in so many situations that have given me the opportunity to succeed. So why not take everything I have to get everything that I want? And I think that's what we're starting to see in society is when people transition away from something they've been doing for so long, they forget that they were successful before they ever got to that point. And so, again, like I say, when I go to the military and I work with them, I always constantly remind them that we already have everything we need to get everything that we want, but it's going to take everything we have to get everything we want.
Boy, would you say that again?
Which one?
It's going to take everything we have.
It's going to take everything that you have to get everything you want, but you have everything you need to get everything you want.
We have it inside us already.
Right.
And I also hear inside you an attitude of gratitude, that even in ourselves, when we're going through these transitions, it's important to say maybe thank you, and to recognize that, yes, we've done well at certain points in our lives, and maybe think about those high points, because it's got to be earth-shattering for many people when they, I've got a friend who, I've got 3 friends. 2 friends? Oh, I've got a friend who was a professional player, and I won't say who it is because he's going through a bit of a tough time right now, but he shattered his ankle, and I mean, one day he's riding high on Ego Airlines and making the money and everything, and then he shatters his ankle and he's done. You know, he's home wondering what he's going to do. That ability to at least look back, not to saturate yourself in the good old days, but to say, okay, I did well then, I can do well now. Maybe by drawing on, for instance, the discipline that you had to have to get you to the NFL.
Yeah, I think for me personally, if I'm hearing you right, that all the trials and tribulations that we go through currently, if we have the opportunity to go back mentally in our mind and we look at whether we were able to overcome, or your belief or God was able to bring you through, that you understand, and that gives you the confidence that you will absolutely get through this as well. So I always say that I basically, all my hardships and tribulations in my life have basically turned me into a callus. Mm-hmm. And so I've been strengthened and I've been hardened because I was able to overcome those things. And certain things that I wrote about in my book is I was able to talk about the upbringing and being made fun of and bullying, and maybe not doing as well as in school as I wanted to, or maybe I would have liked to have done, but I was able to overcome that, and look at me now. So, you know, I say it all the time. It's so great when we can make our past jealous, or our past jealous of our future.
Nice. The book he's referring to is Permission to Dream, and the he I'm referring to is Thomas R. Williams, and he's our guest today on Your Wonderful Life. When we come back, I want to explore this idea of using your past as the platform, making your future jealous of your past. Is that the way you said it? The other way. Okay. You're giving me signals here, call an audible. I don't know, but I like to say your pain is a platform for power.
Absolutely.
So I'd like to find out a little bit of your pain and how you transform that into power. And I think there's a person or two that can learn something along the way. And if you share with us on Facebook, if you want to share, I've been authorized to give out a copy of this book. So I'd love to do it, but I'd rather you just go ahead and buy a copy, and just make sure you marry the thought to the action right now. Where can people get the book?
They can get it on my website, www.thomasrwilliams.com, or they can get it at Amazon. Search for Permission to Dream by Thomas R. Williams.
Permission to Dream. And we've got a man who isn't just a dreamer. He's also one who dreams and does. What was it? Dream?
Dare,
dream, do. Do I have that backwards?
No, sir, you're good.
Okay, good. Thank you. Thank you for that affirmation. You might have just worked your way into the co-host slot of Your Wonderful Life. We'll be right back on Angels Radio, AM830 KLAA.
Angels Radio,
AM830.
Hello, everybody. Pastor Andy Q here with some bad news. If you spend one dime anywhere, you might be getting ripped off. You see, your friendly neighborhood store, dry cleaners, restaurant, or whatever takes credit cards. Then their not-so-friendly bank is overcharging them for the cost of credit card processing. Guess who ends up paying for the overcharges? You do. Help stop the rip-offs. Have your friendly neighborhood merchant call Lisa at American Payment Solutions. They provide credit card processing for the lowest amount with none of the so-called hidden charges. How do they do it? They keep a low overhead, and they're honest. How do I know? I've known their CEO for over 25 years. For a free cost comparison, that's right, free, right over the phone, call your local rep Lisa on her cell phone at 949-584-2884. That's Lisa at 949-584-2884. For quality credit card processing for less, call 949-584-2884.
Massage Heights, offering premier massage experiences across the U.S. and Canada, has come to Southern California. Massage Heights is unique in offering top-notch therapy at an affordable price in a resort-like setting. Massages are customized, one price for any blend of modalities. Their licensed massage therapists have been trained to help you identify your needs and will offer just the right therapy for you to be in for pain, tension, stress, or just plain relaxation. All sessions include free aromatherapy. Summer is ending and school is starting. Give back to yourself after all the running around for back to school. Mention AM830 or ESPN in scheduling an introductory appointment through September and receive a free revitalizing foot scrub valued at $40 as part of your service.
Offer available to first-time visitors in any of the following Massage Heights locations: Irvine, Mission Viejo, Newport Beach, Chino Hills, and Rancho Cucamonga. Go to massageheights.com to connect to the participating retreat nearest you. Open 7 days a week. Walk-ins welcome.
Pastor Andy Q, it is Your Wonderful Life. We get together every week at this time to talk about your life. Believe it or not, there is more to life than sports. For instance, there's massages. There are massages, and you can pick one up at Massage Heights. They're our new sponsor, so I just want to give them a little extra time here. But what a great place. Just a top-notch massage, affordable, in a resort-like setting, even in a place like Mission Viejo or Irvine. You see the other stores nearby. You think, well, this is not a resort. Once you get inside, you think you've flown to Bora Bora. Beautiful place, and look, summer's ending, so treat yourself, because this back-to-school madness is going to overtake you if you let it. I can tell you, in my time for a little prayer bike riding today, I just didn't quite stretch beforehand, twisted my neck a little bit, and went, I'm a little tense. That's why that's happening. So I'm going to be heading over to Massage Heights. So maybe I'll see you. Well, I won't see you because this is a quality place. They have separate rooms. It's not like, hey, how you doing?
Yeah, I'd want my money back if that weren't the case.
Not like the open air legitimate places that I experienced in Thailand. Open air legitimate massage places. I just have to underscore that. But look, whether you're in Irvine, Mission Viejo, Newport Beach, Chino Hills, or Rancho Cucamonga, just go to Massage Heights. By the way, if you mention AM830 or ESPN, they'll give you a free foot scrub. Delicious. It is Your Wonderful Life. We get together and talk about the issues of life. And who better than to help us with the issues of life than to be speaking with Thomas R. Williams. He's written a book called Permission to Dream, and he knows a little something about dreaming. Thomas R. Williams, linebacker, former linebacker for USC, NFL player for 5 years, but who's counting? Bill is. You know all the stats. You did some dreaming before you ever noticed the reality of ever experienced what it was like to walk into the big stage of 92,000 cheering fans at the Coliseum in Los Angeles. What were some of those dreams like when you were a kiddo?
You know what, Pastor Andy? There's it's really simple, and the older I get, the more I'm understanding kind of where this permission to dream came from. One of the first examples that I ever had in my life was I was in high school, and I had an opportunity I was a teacher's assistant, so I took one of my teacher's mail down to the office, and one of the secretaries looked at me, and she handed me Coach Santa Padre, that's who it was. He handed me Coach Santa Padre's envelope and said, Thomas, before you leave, can you sign a piece of paper for me? And so I looked at her and I said, what do you mean? And she said, well, I just want to make sure that I'm one of the first people to have your autograph before you go pro. Now, I'm in 11th grade in high school.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking on that day that, wow, here's somebody who believes more in me than I believe in myself. And so it kind of comes back to the Bible and the scripture where it says, speak of those things that are not as though they were. And so here this person was doing that for me, and she was seeing something that I wanted to become before I actually came it. And then another time, as far as dreaming, was my 12th grade teacher, econ class. So at Vacaville High School, we took government first semester, and then we took econ second semester. And so the teacher, she told us our last presentation and our last project of the year was, in 5 years, where will you be? And obviously, we all have a 5-year, 10-year, 12-year plan. And so in 5 years, I would have been graduated from college. And my dream and my goal and my life, my lifestyle, my occupation was to be a professional football player. And so I knew that a lot of people in class were probably going to laugh at me or think that I didn't take the assignment as serious. But we had to come up with our annual salary, how much education our occupation required, where were we living, what was our family life, the budget, car, everything. And so actually, my dream was to play for the Miami Dolphins at the time. And so I was living in South Beach, living the life, a 23-year-old bachelor, the whole nine, right? Had a nice car, nice salary. But I remember that day when we presented in class, one of the students asked me and said, well, Thomas, what are you going to do when your plan doesn't come to fruition? What's going to be your backup plan? And I looked at her, and it literally just flowed off my tongue like I was supposed to say it. And I said, I'm probably going to do the same thing you're going to do if your first dream and option doesn't come true. And that's what so many times people always tell an athlete, what's your backup plan? What's your backup plan? And I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know how many people agree with me, but I don't believe that you should have a backup plan. I think you should always have an additional plan. So
An additional plan.
So I can be a football player and a motivational speaker and an author. Because right now I'm a motivational speaker, an author, and an analyst, and doing commentating in college football. So it's not like I have a backup plan if one of those don't work.
Right.
I'm doing those all three kind of in addition to one another, right? It's kind of like diversifying your portfolio.
Your human portfolio. Yeah, see, the station has a backup plan in case I get a little off the rails here with the show. But that's a totally different thing. Janae's poised and ready to plug in another program. You'll just hear easy listening for the first time at Angels Radio, AM830, KLAA. Look, I think that's wonderful to say additional plan. And you have got to hit some great chords with the young people that you speak. You know, you travel all over the place and speak. Do you speak to some high schoolers from time to time?
Well, I speak. That's one of the groups that I speak with, as well as corporate, the military, students, whether at any level. I've talked to kids who lost their first tooth, so they're about 4 or 5 years old. Wow. And I've also talked with students who are in grad school and everywhere in between there. But you're absolutely right. One of the things is I'm able to identify with everyone, really. And then what gives me an advantage is I retired from my first occupation at 27. Right. And so there's a lot of young adults out there in the world that really need guidance. And I might be the first and only person in their life that they ever come into contact with that tell them that they can really do anything that they want to. And it's not because I got lucky and I went to the NFL, because I had some hardships. And I had a lot of dream stealers. But I also had a lot of people in my life who told me, Thomas, you really can be anything you want to be. I tell people all the time, my number one fan and my first fan was my mom, because she said, Thomas, you can be anything you want to be in this world. And as she was telling me this, I was getting in trouble and getting suspended and getting fights and getting kicked out of class. But I tell people all the time, I was dumb enough to believe her. I was actually dumb enough to actually believe my mom when she told me that. And so when she constantly reminded me of that, hence professional reminder. When she reminded me of that, then I took on the world and I said, I really can be whatever I want to be. I just have to work hard enough, and I have to be absolutely obsessed with it. And I was obsessed with football.
You know, there are a lot of young people who, if you ask them, what are you going to be? They'll say, oh, I'm going to be a professional basketball player or professional baseball player. Just to push back a little bit, there are going to be some people say, yeah, but you've got the natural ability, you've had the physical wherewithal to do this. How do you respond to those people that would say it's more about what the cards you've been dealt, than the ability to dream so specifically? I mean, what separated you from some of the people that just let their dreams fizzle out so quickly?
Well, there's a couple of things. Growing up early on in my childhood, I was my father wasn't in my life as much as I would have liked him to be, or he would have liked to have been. And so in ninth grade, football basically took the place of my dad. And so it gave me approval, appreciation, and applaud, cheering, affection. And so I tell people all the time that for me, like you talked about in the first segment, was taking your pain and really turning it in transforming it into power. And so for my pain was my dad wasn't there, and life may have not been great or a bowl of cherries, but on the football field, you can be aggressive and you can have physical contact. And so I was able to transform my hurt and my pain into physical power on a football field. So I told people they didn't have a chance when we played one-on-one in football or anything like that, because I had so much built up inside of me that was my outlet. And I was able to actually unleash that on the football field where contact or physicality is actually encouraged.
Now, were you able to keep it contained to the football field?
Oh, absolutely. I think everything that we do, some people go to the gym, some people go climbing, hiking, running, whatever it is a release, as an outlet. And so for me, from the time I was 13 to the time I was 27, football was an outlet, and I was able to literally turn it on and turn it off every time you step between the lines.
You know, we're talking with Thomas R. Williams. He's written a book called Permission to Dream. He is a speaker of the, I want to give it something more than simply saying motivational type. I mean, that's a good word, but I often think of, if somebody says, oh, I'm looking for somebody to motivate me, and what if that person doesn't show up? You really get into the core of a person. You get inside somebody's head and help them realize the dream from within.
It's actually funny because I started a real good relationship. Me and my father started our foundation of our relationship when I was 18 years old. So when I left the house and I started at college. And so here I am at 29, and our relationship is great at this time. And my dad told me a long time ago, he said, if you can change somebody's mind, you'll only be able to change them for a second. But if you can grab their heart, you can change their mind, which will change them forever.
That's a great statement. Yeah, boy, that's really good. And it speaks well of you as well that age 18, you reconnected with your dad, and you could have held a grudge and said, well, you weren't as present as I wanted you to be.
Yeah, which I think there's a lot of that, because I don't know if you know this, but I just recently found out that there's 24 million kids that are growing up in this country without a father.
Yeah.
And so I knew that from the age of 4 to the age of 18, my dad had suffered a lot. He endured a little bit of not seeing me go to prom, not teaching me how to drive, not teaching me how to kiss my first girlfriend or tie a tie or anything like that. So I knew that his punishment, he had already served that. And so I wanted to give him a fair shot when I left the home, and I could draw my own opinion based on the relationship that we had at that moment.
Age 18, and you had this wisdom already. That's good.
I guess it was just a vision, and God placed it in my heart and softened my heart, and I'm so glad because we're able to talk about so much more than just the past and maybe what we would have liked it to have been.
Are you in touch with Pete Carroll or any of these other people that you are so generous to mention? You know what? Save that for when we come back, because we're getting a little bit long. Can you stay for another segment?
All right, let's do it.
Okay, let's do it. That's a very motivational statement right there, because we're with Thomas R. Williams. He's written Permission to Dream, and he is a speaker. If somebody wants to book you for whatever it is, their corporate event, military event, bar mitzvah, whatever it is that wherever you're speaking, how do they do that? Through your website?
Through the website. There's a contact page. Click on that, fill it out, and we'll get back to you within 24 to 48 hours.
Do you know these publicists that you've brought with you would not forgive us if we didn't mention that website?
Okay, so the website is www.thomasrwilliams.com. And again, clicking on the contact page, filling out the form, and like I said, we'll get back to you within 24 to 48 hours.
Thomas R. Williams, our guest from the arena of football to life. So we're going to come back and talk a little bit more about that, get into the pain issue, find out how we can overcome whatever it is that's holding us back, and be all that we're meant to be. God has a big plan for your life, my friend. You don't need to let your past hold you back. you can make your past jealous of your future. Did I finally get that right?
You got it right.
All right. Angels Radio, AM830, KLAA, Your Wonderful Life.
Angels Radio.
AM830.
Massage Heights, offering premier massage experiences across the U.S. and Canada, has come to Southern California. Massage Heights is unique in offering top-notch therapy at an affordable price in a resort-like setting. Massages are customized, one price for any blend of modalities. Their licensed massage therapists have been trained to help you identify your needs and will offer just the right therapy for you to be in for pain, tension, stress, or just plain relaxation. All sessions include free aromatherapy. Summer is ending and school is starting. Give back to yourself after all the running around for back to school. Mention AM830 or ESPN in scheduling an introductory appointment through September and receive a free revitalizing foot scrub valued at $40 as part of your service.
Offer available to first-time visitors in any of the following Massage Heights locations: Irvine, Mission Viejo, Newport Beach, Chino Hills, and Rancho Cucamonga. Go to massageheights.com to connect to the participating retreat nearest you. Open 7 days a week. Walk-ins welcome.
Hello, everybody. Pastor Andy Q here with some bad news. If you spend one dime anywhere, you might be getting ripped off. You see, your friendly neighborhood store, dry cleaners, restaurant, or whatever takes credit cards. Then their not-so-friendly bank is overcharging them for the cost of credit card processing. Guess who ends up paying for the overcharges? You do. Help stop the rip-offs. Have your friendly neighborhood merchant call Lisa at American Payment Solutions. They provide credit card processing for the lowest amount with none of the so-called hidden charges. How do they do it? They keep a low overhead and they're honest. How do I know? I've known their CEO for over 25 years. For a free cost comparison, that's right, free, right over the phone, call your local rep Lisa on her cell phone at 949-584-2884. That's Lisa at 949-584-2884. For quality credit card processing for less, call 949-584-2884. Pastor Andy Q here. It is Your Wonderful Life. This is what we do every week at this time. Sports are good. Angels are killing it, man. We just need our sports. This is a wonderful outlet. But there's more to life than sports. And our guest will tell you that, even though sports it's given him so much. He played football, baseball, professional football. And by professional, I'm not talking about the Canadian Football League. Have I just upset our Canadians?
Probably.
But they play gridiron, so it's okay. It's not like that crazy Aussie rules stuff. But
that's nuts.
Do you know what? Remind me, producer Leah, we need to get there's a professional Aussie football player that we can book, nice. And a cancer survivor. We need that. A 14-year-old girl is inspiring a professional football player. And we need to get them on the air. But that's for another show because we're hogging all the time with Thomas R. Williams. We want him for ourselves here.
Yeah, Thomas, would you have ever played Aussie rules football? No pads?
No, I don't think I could do that. Can you wear a helmet?
I don't know. Do they? I don't remember. They don't wear any. They're running around naked. I don't know.
No, maybe in the 70s when streaking was big, they do that.
Those Aussies are crazy.
Yeah, it's a rough game, but they don't like the comparison. Think rugby.
Yeah.
5 years at USC, Thomas won 2 national championships and 4 Rose Bowl appearances as a linebacker. Then he went on to the NFL. What's it like when you're waiting to get drafted by the NFL? There's a movie out there, Draft Day. Is that it? Mm-hmm. Draft Day. Did you see the movie?
I did.
Of course, because you're a sports guy, like me, pretty much. As you can tell, just by my physique.
Ladies' badminton doesn't count.
Oh, man, badminton. Listen, man, don't you badmouth badminton. Badminton's a rough game, dude. I can tell you that much right now.
Yeah.
I'm thinking,
I sit corrected.
Well, and you know that ESPN's going to pick me up for women's field hockey whenever it gets the recognition it deserves, and it's big.
When they actually have more than one team.
What on earth was I talking about? Ah, yes, I have no clue. Seriously, it's gone. Is anybody listening?
Transitioning into the NFL.
What's it like waiting for the phone to ring? Waiting for the phone to ring at draft day. Was it like Draft Day, the movie? Are you sitting there wondering?
Very similar, but if you recall in the movie Draft Day, those guys, they were all talking about the first round.
Right.
Unfortunately, I didn't get drafted in the first round.
Well, I didn't want to bring up a sore subject.
But it's okay. It's kind of like you meet that pretty woman that you've been looking at all semester long. She's sitting in your class, and she finally gives you a little piece of time, and she gives you her phone number, or you actually give her your phone number, and she says, I'll call you. And so maybe this is Friday night, so you think you're going to go out there on the weekend. But she actually doesn't call you until about 2 weeks later, and you've been waiting by your phone the entire 2 weeks. That's exactly what my draft experience was like, because every time new team comes on the television, you think that maybe this is it. This is it. They're going to call me. And then somebody texts you, you look at your phone. Somebody calls you, you pick up your phone. And I cannot tell you how glad I was for the draft to be over, because it was 2-day experience. They did the first 3 rounds when I was coming out. They did the first 3 rounds the first night, and then 3, 4, and 5, 6, and 7 on the next day. And so for me, I was just glad that a dream became a reality. I was going to a new place, Jacksonville, and I was extremely excited because my mom, my grandparents, and a couple of my really close friends had an opportunity to experience that with me. And so when the phone rang from a 904 area code, I was just excited. But then it was time to get back to work, because you figure you're shooting for a dream and a goal, and you want something to take place so bad, and it finally gets there, and then it's like, okay, I've arrived, but then not really. It was literally only that 35 seconds of enjoyment, and then it was like, okay, now what? So that's when I think I really figured out that the destination really is the journey, because it's very similar to a woman who's holding a child in her stomach for 9 months. For 9 months, there's pain and there's agony, there's uncomfort, and then finally the baby comes out, and there's just that one moment where she's finally seeing the fruits of her labor. No pun intended.
Yeah.
but then now all of a sudden it's like, okay, now I'm a mom. Now what to do? So that was my experience.
Yeah, there's not too much time for celebration after that baby comes out. Especially, you don't want her spiking that baby like a football. I probably shouldn't have said that. That's where we're getting problematic with
my
the humor.
sister gave birth a week ago this morning.
Yes, congratulations.
It didn't stop. It's just boom. Okay, now on to the next phase of these things. No. Okay, we accomplished that. Let's go take vacation.
Well, you missed your dream by more than a mile, because your dream was to be in Miami with the Dolphins, and here you're in Jacksonville. So,
right state, wrong city.
Yeah, no, that's
Florida.
Pretty close for specific dreaming. That's pretty great. Do you teach people to be specific in their dreams as you were taught all the way back in high school?
Well, I share with them and educate them is that the more specific we can get with our dreams, the more likely it is that we'll actually hit them. So if I say, it's just like getting in a car, and it's like, well, where are you going? I don't know, I'm just driving. Well, the chances are you're probably not going to end up anywhere you want it to end up. But if I say, I'm leaving Orange County and I'm heading to Los Angeles, okay, we're a little bit closer. But if you say, I'm leaving Irvine and I'm heading to Santa Monica, then you're onto something. And you will probably end up exactly, if not a little bit closer to where you actually want it to be.
Well, you know, in your economics class, you talked about, you know, where are you going to be in 5 years, and it almost sounds from the way you tell the story that you unintentionally hit upon the action plan. You know, that's like, okay, here's what I want to do, here's where I want to do it, and here's when. You know, it's like all the core needs that most people, you know, when they're dreaming, that it's just this wishy-washy dream of, oh, I wish I was successful.
Yeah, You're absolutely right. I mean, and this is what I've learned also over the years with that. If you give yourself a date, right? So you give yourself, it's not really an expiration date, but you give yourself a timeline and you say, I'm going to do this by then.
Right.
Then there's a sense of urgency. Just as human beings in our minds, the way that we operate is that if you say, I have to do this by tomorrow, there's pretty much a great chance that you're going to do everything inside of your power to make sure it gets done by tomorrow. But I also want to add to that, and I didn't know this in the 12th grade, but I know it now, is that understand what you want, understand why you want it, but then also identify who you want it for. Because I understand that we don't necessarily, if we just want it for ourselves, we'll be kind of excited and happy to do it. But if we can picture someone like a family member, a child, a relative, a great close friend, that you're doing it for them, then you're going to put a little bit more of emphasis on it because that person means that much more to you. And you would think that you would be letting them down if you not give it your best effort.
Absolutely.
How do you fight complacency?
Oh, you've just hit my biggest fear. People ask me all the time, what is your biggest fear? Well, sharks is one of them.
Yeah,
sharks.
They're kind of big on that.
Roller coasters and complacency. How do I fight it? I constantly put myself in a state of being uncomfortable. And so and we can train our minds, we can train ourselves, and just like a muscle with our minds is that if we do exactly what we don't want to do, exactly when we don't want to do it, then we've just kind of gotten stronger, if that makes sense. And so when I was younger, I would take out the trash exactly at that moment I didn't want to do it. I would do the dishes exactly that moment I didn't want to do it. And I think over time that strengthened my mental toughness. And another trick too I'll give you is that I love Twix and Reese's. So if you guys have them, please don't show me where they are. But
well, M&M's was a sponsor on the show, but go ahead, please. No, I'm totally joking.
Yeah. So
they don't like our show.
For me, what I'll do is that I'll get at the beginning of the week, I'll get some Twix and I'll get some Reese's, and I'll put them on my counter. And throughout the week, I'll walk by them and I'll see how long it will take me not to eat them. And so usually I'll give myself the weekend, but I know that I've just gotten mentally tougher and mentally stronger because of that. So that also fights that complacency.
Now, that's how you fight complacency. How do you fight sharks?
I don't go in the water.
And now for a serious question. Go ahead, Mr. Bill.
Actually, I was going to say it's fun. I thought it was funny that you mentioned about being not comfortable. And we've mentioned this before, that as Christians, Christ gave us the most wonderful selling point for our way of doing things, and calling us to be uncomfortable in our lives, not calling us to complacency, to comfort. It's like, and people get called off to Africa to be a missionary, or to downtown somewhere to have a homeless ministry, or some hospital to treat sick children, or whatever have you. That it's like, okay, there's your wheelhouse. That's great. You're going here instead. And
no, you're exactly right. I think that there's a great illustration when in the Bible where it says, be prepared to suffer much persecution. And then also when Jesus is getting ready to ultimately die for our sins, he sits there and he looks at the 12 and he says, is the master not greater than his servant? And so what he was telling and saying, well, if they did this to me, what do you think they're going to do to you? And so obviously that's being uncomfortable, or it's being comfortable with being uncomfortable. Right. And so for us as Christians, in understanding what it is to be a Christian, our walk is extremely important. And then also what we have to do is understand that it's going to be tough. It's not easy to be a Christian and to walk the straight and narrow.
Absolutely.
Amen to that, brother. Even if you're doing church work. We've been talking with Thomas R. Williams. He's written a book called Permission to Dream. People can find it on Amazon or going online to your website. Would you remind us of that?
Yes, the website is www.thomasrwilliams.com.
We've got 30 seconds. Tell us real quickly. People can book you. You speak all over the place for, I'm told by your publicist, for a surprisingly reasonable rate. You even do some charity work, but not necessarily, Why'd you write the book?
Why did I write the book? Because a lot of times when I go out and speak, I get lines of parents and then also young adults asking me, how did I see that dream become a reality? And so since I can only be at one place at one time, I decided to take on this journey and this adventure to share with the entire world, and saying that I might not be able to ever speak to you or ever meet you, but here's something that you can read and can share with you, that where you are doesn't necessarily mean that's where you have to end up.
You know, I don't know where the expression dumb jock came from, but we can throw that out the window, because this is a man wise beyond his 29 years. Yeah. It is a pleasure to have had you in the studio here at AM 830. I hope, friends, you pick up a copy of Permission to Dream by Thomas R. Williams. It's available at the finer bookstores or on the website, thomasrwilliams.com, thomasrwilliams.com, or, Mr. Bill,
head on over to the Facebook page, because I know you all are already over there at Your Wonderful Life following along with the simulcast, because all the links to both the thomasrwilliams.com and Amazon and all the wonderful places where you can buy his book or book him for your corporate event or bar mitzvah or dinner next Thursday or whatever. And you can find it all there and interact with other listeners both around the corner and around the world.
You've been a great guest and a great man. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you so much for having me. This has been great. I look forward to doing it again soon.